Yeah.
Once upon a time, not so long
Back in the club, they feeling this. Showing me love, they feeling this. Back in the coupe, they feeling this. Said I'm the truth, they feeling this. Back in my home, they feeling this. Out on the road, they feeling this. Up in the O, they feeling this. Back in my zone, they feeling this.
What up, you marks? And welcome to Pod Jobbers, baby. It is April 23rd, and you have four incredible gentlemen joining you today to talk to you about a lot of stuff in the wrestling community. We're going to get ourselves kicked off here. Starting off with Seal Kid. Say hi to the fans, Mark.
What up, bro?
Too sweet. Deucey, say hello.
Hello, your king is back.
The king is back. Tiger King. And making his triumphant return, Brett Moore.
What's up, brother? Good to be back. Good
I
to
gave
be
him
back.
the John Cena whistles, and he goes with brother.
And I am your host, the villain, Dylan, renaming my Zoomcast right now so we can line up. All right, let's get us started here, gents. Let's go with a little swerve, bro. We ask each other questions on the spot. Brett, it's been a while. Why don't you start us off?
I'm completely unprepared for this at the moment. So I guess, have we ever done like a best finish? Like, what's your favorite finisher? Have we ever done the favorite finisher one?
I don't think so.
I think we did
Not here.
before these two gents joined, but you know what? Let's rehash it because I'm curious to hear them. CL Kid, start us off.
Yeah.
If we're going to all-time thing here, or are we going current? I don't know how you guys rolled with it last time.
All time.
One of each.
Okay, fine.
Ooh,
We'll be,
really?
the stunner is the obvious pick because of just the explosion and the ridiculousness. You know, it hits on anybody. You don't have to pick them up. You can never really botch it other than Vince or The Rock. But it's clearly the best finisher ever to me back then. You know, it just had to pop in the automatic. Like, there was no kicking out of the stunner unless you're at WrestleMania or something. Like, you can kick out of any otherbody's finisher on a solid pay-per-view, but not that one. So definitely that. I think underrated side choice would have been the pedigree. I really liked the pedigree. That was one of my more liked and famous back then. Then coming to current, it's hard not to go RKO. It's tough for me to even really consider that current. It feels more of an old schooler. So if I can't pick that, I guess I'll roll with the F5. I think it's the finisher that you get a lot of big guys out there. Doozy, come on now. You were doing that either way. So
Room full of dudes, why not?
the F5 to me is everything that is wrong with a guy like Braun Strowman. You take Braun Strowman, he's got this lame-ass finisher. It's dull. He's not very good on the mic. That's fine, but he doesn't speak much anyway. If you gave him the F5 or something that's just dynamic, it just showcases your power, it really makes him more of a threat. That little soft power slam he does is kind of weak, and it's pointless, and it doesn't have the oomph that a big guy has. So finally, somebody without a choke slam and with a great move. I love the F5. Where you rolling with that, dudes?
I mean, easily number one, my all-time favorite is the Sweet Kid music. It is. I mean, you hit that sucker out of nowhere, turn around, get popped with it. You know, even when he's refereeing, like, okay, I'm going to kick this guy in the face. It's awesome. It's a great move. It's classic. People have been stealing it now forever. They don't call it Sweet Chin music. It's just a super kick.
You got to do the stomps for it to be Sweet
Oh,
Chin.
yeah, that's right. I mean, you got
Right.
to tune
You
up
got
the
to tune up the
band.
band.
Exactly. And from there, I mean, it's just because that's Shawn Michaels. And I guess if I were to pick, I don't know, is that older or is that modern? What would we call that? Older? Yes?
Yeah.
Vince?
All
Older.
time.
Okay.
That's older.
Okay.
Yeah.
All time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess then my more modern one would probably be, oh man, what is the name of Ember Moon? What's her finisher?
Oh, you son of a bitch. That's what I was going to say.
Sorry,
Big
what?
clips.
Dude,
No
oh my
way.
gosh, that move is so
Yeah.
badass. Coming off the top rope, hitting that stunner. Shut up, TL Kid, because you know it's
Corkscrew,
awesome.
buddy.
No.
Corkscrew off the
stunner.
top rope.
Okay, but it's so much like the backpack stunner from John Cena, where it becomes this thing that so often it's so botchy, and like sometimes you hit it and it's not crisp and it doesn't have the reaction, and the ref, you hear the analyst like, oh, like, yeah, that was it, that was the finisher, like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, but it's never like crisp, and it's hard for me to really like. I like to bro kick more than I like that.
Oh,
Like,
is it because she's a black person doing a finisher at the top rope? Is that your problem?
I don't like top finishers.
Why not? The Swantown Bomb's a great finisher.
Yeah, if you want to take a nap, he falls on halfway
No,
to the bottom.
we're moving on. We're throwing you out, and we're going on to the villain.
Top finishers are never good.
So I can't believe I have to actually clarify this, but I have to say the Stone Cold Stunner is my favorite stunner of all time. Absolutely. And then currently, I would actually go with the zigzag. I'm a big fan of that move from Dolph Ziggler. I like it a lot. But Sweet Chin Music, I mean, that's a very close second. But yeah, zigzag.
Kevin Owens stunner is way better than the Stone Cold.
The KO stunner.
That's right.
I think
the KO stunner.
The Ziggler zigzag has almost become a secondary finisher now. You realize
because he's using the Sweet Chin Music.
He would hit the Famouser as his setup, and then the zigzag as finisher. Then he went away from that. He goes the zigzag as a setup and the Sweet Chin as which is I'm not a big fan.
Super kick.
There's too many super kicks now. Yeah,
it's watered. It's saturated move.
Brett Moore, your question, your answer.
All time, I'll go with the Tombstone. Just because the Tombstone, that meant the end.
Yeah.
Nobody kicked out of the Tombstone. It was
Brock Lesnar did.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar kicked out of it, but I mean, it was seriously years and years and years and years and years and nobody ever kicked out of the Tombstone. And plus, he could do it to anybody, and it looked devastating. You drop him on his head and then they just fall forward and he puts the arms over his chest like that for the pin. I dug it. And then for my newer one, since Deuce already said the Eclipse, that's my real one. But, second place would have to be I still love Seth Rollins' curb stomp.
Oh, that sounds so racist.
Dude.
It's sweet, and he hits it on everybody. It looks devastating. It's what a finisher needs to be.
I agree. That's a good point. That finisher is butter.
My CL Kid name was started from WWE old 2K games where I gave myself CL Kid as the name because I had to have I wanted to use a 2-part name because I didn't like how it said CL. So I was like, shit, I'm going to CL Kid. And then I gave myself the finisher. The curb stomp was in the game before Rollins started doing it. And I was like, I like this. And then he started doing it and, did more with it than I could. So.
Oh, burn it down. All right. Well, next to swerve us, let's go with a little deucey action. How you going to swerve us, bro?
All right. I've actually already mentioned this to you guys earlier. Is Money in the Bank the actual, climbing up the corporate building? Is it going to be a shit show or a cinematic masterpiece? I'm gonna start with you, CL Kid. You look like you got some hate in your heart. Go ahead.
I do. It's been a rough morning. I think honestly, it's more about the expectation. For me, I've kind of calmed down and try to take the backseat to just being angry all the time about how terrible this no fan coronavirus WWE has been and try to give them some credit. Obviously, that last week we had spoke, or 2 weeks ago, my list item was the Monday Night Raw not being anything big and not being a spectacular like it usually is from the first night after Mania. But I think I don't know how they're going to approach it, but I don't know if they're going to make it cinematic at any point. I don't know if it's going to just be people climbing stairs and dragging each other down, or what it's going to be. Is there still going to be a ladder on the roof, or is there going to be a ring on the roof? Because you just never know in that regard. If they put the ring on the roof and they put the ladder in there and it's kind of a fight to lead up, and then you still get the match essentially, who knows? So I won't dog it. I think I'm going to go in and say it'll be a thumbs up, just mainly because it's tough to recreate any other good matches right now with no crowd. And this pay-per-view allows you to have that magic. And you saw what they did with the ladder match at Mania. So if they introduce any kind of ladders, which there's no way you can avoid that, I think it'll go well.
Nope.
50-50. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I think as just as I know it sounds like a cop out, but I mean, I had such low expectations for both of the, the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match. I thought they were both going to suck. Like, I thought it was going to be like that Bray Wyatt Randy Orton match that they had a couple years back that blew absolute dick. Like, that's what I was expecting. And when it comes out and it's super duper cheesy, but like in a really fun and entertaining way, both of them were, and so different too. Like, they were both cheesy and weird and bizarre and surreal, but in their own way. And, they knocked those out of the park. So I think it's just as easy for them to come in and knock this one out of the park as well. But then again, these are kind of like, this is kind of what, if I had one criticism of WWE, it would be that they do tend to take good things and just beat them into the ground. They did that with Hell in a Cell. They did that with the Money in the Bank match, you could argue. So what I'm afraid of is they're going to go off this thing that was really, really good that nobody was expecting to be good, and then just, drop down shit all over it. That's what I'm worried about, but I don't know. Jake?
So Sean Cusack's weighing in. He's saying it definitely has huge potential to be fun. And I agree. I think this will actually be very similar to the Edge-Orton match at WrestleMania, how they kind of went around the entire performance center and beat each other up. I think this will be very similar to that. Keep in mind that the end of the match concludes with them actually ascending upon a ladder on the top of the headquarters. So there's still going to be that element. I'm just curious to see how many actual wrestlers make it that high. I agree with Sean. I think it's going to be really good potential. The thing that's not in their favor is they already blew their load at WrestleMania. So, they're going to have to live up to that hype or surpass it, which is going to be very hard.
You guys make great points here, especially, CLK, I like that idea of having an actual ring on top of that whole building. But then I just see it kind of like, what was that, the X Division, where they had the belt atop of that entire thing. So, I mean, how else are you going to get a belt hanging from there? There's going to be a copter. Oh, my gosh, there's a chopper hanging up there? Yeah.
Somebody that's star-based.
Yeah. But I honestly believe, I think they're going to make this cinematic. Because how else are you going to get, 7 people going, figuring out where they're going to be? So, I mean, you got to have cameras in different spots, or else you are going to have chaos like the Orton Edge match where the camera guy's running around. I don't want to see that. I need people in place ready to catch all the action. That's just me. And, they've done great stuff. If they can continue it, I'll still watch. Like I told you guys, I've stopped watching Raw because I don't care. It doesn't seem fun. If they keep giving me something to watch, yeah, okay, it'll be good. So, hopefully something does pan out from this.
Awesome. Great question. Great swerve. Speaking of swerves, CL Kid, how you going to swerve us, bro?
So earlier in the week, I had post on the Wrestling Life group that photo of, it's one of those, you have to get rid of one, and they had The Rock, Undertaker, Austin, and Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. Sorry, keep 4, drop 1. A lot of people went with Triple H, who I think is underrated, so on and so forth, whatever. But it got me thinking, if you had to recreate, those 5 have always kind of been tied together because of that era, clearly. If you had to recreate those 5 after them, who would they be in your list? And then who would you drop from that 5? So if you want, we can cut it down to 4 and drop 1, but up to you. Just for example, if I were to say John Cena, CM Punk, JBL, I'm not saying these are my people, Brock Lesnar, any of those people from that era, who would your people be? And I don't care who takes up first here, but just to build a little Mount Rushmore of the post-Attitude Era. Let's roll with the guy who clearly wants to speak, Doozy.
All right.
It's hard to make a list on the spot. So,
okay. Yeah.
Why don't we agree on a list and then take turns? How about that?
All right, I'm putting in CM Punk.
All right, CM Punk.
Edge.
John
Cena.
Orton.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we need a 5th, or is 4 good?
You have 5, and you got to drop 1. Something after that. Who do you think really makes that Mount Rushmore? Because I was thinking, I'm like, dang, who is like today's Mount Rushmore in that content? So what about like I don't know. It's tough. I mean, exactly.
That's so hard.
Lesnar?
No, that's I'm sure.
I mean,
No Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar's kind of who you have to go with.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with Lesnar. All right, so we have Cena, Orton, Edge, Lesnar, and
CM
Punk.
Who you dropping, Doozy?
John Cena. Peace out. I mean, that's like the easiest thing to ask me. Anytime you're going to put John Cena in a case where I have to drop somebody, bye. See you in 13 rounds, buddy. Because I don't care about John Cena. I've never liked John Cena. I just watched it. What was it? Him and Shawn Michaels had a match in 2007. I think it was like so many years ago today, and where they battled for like an hour on Raw. And Shawn Michaels came out the winner, but it wasn't a championship match because John Cena beat him at WrestleMania, and so it was just bullshit. So fuck John Cena and his little neon green Fruity Pebbles motherfucking ass.
You obviously like John Cena.
Hate him.
Brett Moore, what you thinking?
I'm definitely keeping Cena. I mean, if you're going to put together like a Rushmore of like top WWE stars, he's on it. There's no doubt about that. Man, that's really tough. Because like I want to say Lesnar, but I mean those old Lesnar matches are really, really good.
Lesnar Angle.
And Lesnar Angle. The Lesnar Undertaker match is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
And he's such an attraction. And I mean, if you really sit down and think about it, and you put everything aside, I mean, that dude is a freak. I mean, he's a once in a generation talent. I mean, that's this generation's like Ric Flair.
Yeah.
I guess by process of elimination, I'm gonna put Orton out. And that I can't really see. I can't put Edge out because he's won more championships than anybody ever. And I can't put out CM Punk because nobody was. I can't think of anybody who was as hot as he was when he was at his hottest.
Yeah.
Especially post Attitude Era, post Ruthless Aggression, whatever you want to call it. So I'd have to go with Orton reluctantly.
Dylan, who you going?
This actually became a really tough list.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because I'm like thinking about it, like who the heck?
Yeah, I was leaning towards Punk because of tenure, but I was like, I can't do that because Brett's right. Like when he was at his peak, it was incredible, and he broke the fourth wall for so many other competitors. I can't knock out Lesnar. I agree. He's a dual sport threat. He's a beast. He's exciting to watch. I actually think he's really good. And I like the accompaniment of Paul Heyman with him.
Throw out Cena.
So it's Cena or Orton.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Here's the thing. I don't want to cut you off because essentially you're making a pick that's hair tight. But it's Cena can't be eliminated. He's today's Ric Flair. Yes, he's boring. But John Cena, and I'm not even a John Cena person because I get it. But John Cena, during any big hyped pay-per-view, comes with it to the mic.
So let me re-ask this question before I answer. Is this a Mount Rushmore for like most impactful, or is this my personal Mount Rushmore?
Well, it's always going to be kind of personal, but at the same time,
by Cena.
You can't just hate John Cena. Like
it's not that I hate him. It's that I don't
so much
think
with the kids.
It's that I don't think he's needed from a wrestling perspective. I'm a big promo guy, but from a wrestling perspective, he's not necessary. I think Orton is absolutely necessary.
I think honestly the clear one and that is Edge. Like, what? Edge is cool. He's fine. But if you take a one-on-one do I think Edge is cooler than Randy Orton? No offense. I like Edge. It was a nice emotional moment. Like I said, I had that on the background. that music hit, I stopped everything I was doing and turned around like, whoa, Edge. You know, I cut the clip for the Edge on this day, and I probably listened to that cut maybe 100 times because I was just like so into it. Yeah, yeah. But to me, it's just so obvious. There was never a time where any of those other guys like needed the mid card to be up. Like, and I loved what they did with the TLC, Edge and Christian, all those things. But Randy Orton's a bigger star and cooler in the ring than Edge's. And Edge's promo skills aren't through the roof, and that's lately pretty good. But they're not through the roof to the point where it cancels out John Cena. No one's touching CM Punk. Brock Lesnar he's done it all.
He's got Paul Heyman.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I would have been okay had somebody said, let's not put Edge on the list of these 5 and put Daniel Bryan in. Like, and I'm not even a Daniel Bryan guy. He would have been my cut. But
Oh yeah, Daniel Bryan would have been my cut too.
I still would have lost Cena.
Okay. Name a bad Edge match. Has
Right,
anyone
that's
ever
what I wanna
seen
know.
Edge have a bad match? The worst.
I
the,
understand
Edge
that.
versus Christian.
But,
I
but
mean,
if
that
you-
wasn't bad. It was just weird.
I give you Edge has done a lot, but to me, Edge is almost like the Triple H of old. You get a guy like Triple H, every, and not the same character, not the same role, not in any of those ways, but the way he's viewed and
I
treated.
love this.
Like for example, I came up with this concept based on the last list that I had.
I'd like to see your blueprints for this because seriously, you're blowing my mind right now.
I need a flow chart.
Look, you get a lot of people who, when they look at the
We
list,
have one person.
hold on.
Two.
Hold on, no, I'm not done. You get
Okay.
a lot of people when they look at the list of The Rock, Austin, Triple H, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels. It's obviously Triple H. Get Triple H out of it. They don't really stop and take, and I see it, and I've seen it a lot in the messages. There's so many people. When I ask people personally, it happens all the time, and I'm just like, Triple H has done so much. He stood through the whole thing. He was a great heel. He was entertaining as a face. He was great with the X. He was great as a bad guy. He was with The Rock, all of them. Right? But he gets no respect. He's always kind of like, eh. And like Edge gets that same vibe for me. Yes, he has great matches, but how often am I like talking about Edge? Never. I'm always, you talk about CM Punk, you talk about what he did, you talk about Cena. Lesnar's in your face left and right. There's no way. Orton is always looked at as the underrated guy. There's never moments where I bring up Edge. If I told somebody, oh, Edge, they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good guy vote. Yeah, I'll vote for Edge. But it's always an afterthought. He's always next on the list.
I hate
And
this
not
guy.
knocking him. But
I hate
dude,
him.
whoever you're talking to, it's less important than what you got going on right here. In the reality, because Edge is not a bigger
He
star.
was talking to Gangrel from the Brood and just
I think that's who he's thinking of. He's not thinking of Edge. He's thinking of Gangrel. Edge.
He's thinking of a Kramer the Hitman Hart. But no.
Kenny Kramer.
There's,
Mr. Kenny Kramer.
and I love Edge. I'm just saying, he's not there. He's not there with them. Those guys were upper tier their whole career. He was upper tier for a little bit, you know?
All right. Well, you guys will have your opportunity to put Seal Kid on your list later on in our list segment. But for now, we're going to put this Swerve Bro to bed. And we're going to move on to our next segment, which is Soundbite of the Week.
Ooh.
I'll tell you what the soundbite of the week is. And with the first overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow. Yes.
Who cares?
We are back.
Nobody
gives a
fuck.
Woo!
NFL's dumb.
Bengals, Buccaneers, Super Bowl.
Ah,
All right. Well, for the better sound bites of the week, we have since we haven't had this in a couple weeks, we're gonna go with a couple AEWs ago. Jericho has been in the broadcast for AEW, and he has been dynamite on the mic behind the booth. And there was a point in the match, it was the Best Friends versus I can't remember the other
best friends.
the other Best Friends. It's the trio of whoever they are, and that Kelly Diva wrestler gets on the ring and strips down, and he says to kind of distract the wrestler, and Jericho says, "I wouldn't fall for that." And I just thought that was pretty hilarious. But the more hilarious thing is afterwards, Orange Cassidy gets on the ring and mimics Kelly and does the same thing. So I thought that was pretty good. The other one was Corbin was beating the snot out of Elias this past week, which, by the way, that feud needs to be put to bed. But anyways, during that,
Corbin needs to be put to bed.
Corbin needs to be put to bed. During that, Corbin mocks Phantom of the Opera and says, "Sing for me," in the tone of Phantom of the Opera while beating up Elias, which I thought was pretty clever to give it to Corbin. Big E was making out with the World Tag Team Championship belt after they won it for the 8th times. And the last thing was this past week on AEW, they had the Bubbly Bunch from the Inner Circle on AEW, which was basically a Zoom video hangout between the Inner Circle. And they did a flim flam competition, which don't even get me started on how awful TikTok is. But Jericho got pissed once Sammy Guevara went pretty ham on that dance and said, "Enjoy your hand sanitizer, Sammy," and threw it at the telephone. So any other sound bites we have to add to that group? But those were the ones that I thought were pretty wild out there.
I mean, anything Britt Baker does is gold, but, that's all I got to add.
No, I love the Big E one, though. You know me, I'm a big Big E fan. And so, that was pretty hilarious.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think the CL Kid saying Edge should be out of the list.
That might be the soundbite of the week,
dude,
right?
No, just I respect your personal opinion. That's cool and everything, but now you're just trying to piss me off.
I stood up for your Cena pick. These two were trying to get rid of me. I don't know what direction you have your boxes, but these two.
You're underneath me, and I'm about to take a dump.
Yeah, I got Jake up here, and then you down here, and Deuce over here. So
climbing the corporate ladder.
Oh, climbing the corporate. Yeah, we're about to get tossed off the building from these guys.
I mean, there just really isn't much to say about some of the sound bites. I mean, yeah, when you got Jericho on the mic or on the commentary, okay, that's what you're gonna get. But when they're trying to cut promos in the ring, trying to say stuff with no live crowd, it's tough. It really is. It's even tough to just listen to and try to react at home. Like, what did he say? Okay, now worth rewinding. But when a crowd actually gets behind something, then what the person said is important, and it becomes important to us. So
yeah, I think I agree there, and I definitely update. Sean Cusack says Corbin should win Money in the Bank. That's probably the take of the week. It's not quite the CLK Edge take.
So dumb.
Sean, I fucking love you, dude.
So
but
dumb.
You're a good man. I don't know who you are.
He doesn't even wear sleeves.
Add me. Add me.
Never heard of this Sean guy, but he's so wrong.
He's awful. Well,
he's banking on the K name from Corbin.
Holy shit, you're lucky we're on cam, dude.
Did anybody talk about Nia Jax calling out Ronda Rousey? Has that been we met up since then?
Nope.
No.
We should probably leave it.
Leave it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Leave that where it needs to be.
If Nia Jax hadn't just almost crippled Io Shirai, we'd be talking about it, but whatever.
Nia Jax ain't gonna last much longer.
So speaking of Nia Jax and being a dump, taking a dump on broadcast is AEW. And so that brings us to our next segment, which is what's the deal? What's the deal with AEW and their broadcasting approach? Have you noticed that sometimes Jim Ross is solo? Sometimes he's not even there. Jericho's on the broadcast team. What is going on with their broadcast approach? King Ducey.
I honestly think they're trying to revamp. They're trying to figure out what they want to do once everything gets settled, who they're going to have in that booth. Yeah, we all know Jim Ross is classic. Okay, Jericho, he's got his stuff. He's got we all know Jericho talks way too much. Talks almost as much as CL Kid does, but with more potential and more poise and grace.
Too late. You already loved it.
But that's what I honestly believe. I think they're trying to figure out where they're going to go after this is all done, and once they're live, and who's going to be listening, at home, and like I said, we all know Jim Ross. We grew up with listening to Jim Ross. But now with AEW coming in, something new, maybe we should give the people Jericho. I don't know. I honestly don't. But that's what I think, is that I think that they're revamping. CL Kid?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're just trying to do anything they can to experiment while their expectations are low. You have an opportunity to really try new things, and people are going to give you hate no matter what at this point. So it's like the same thing with the crowd element, putting the wrestlers there and, doing whatever you can. Because once the audience comes back, you're kind of going to go with one shtick. That's going to be it. So, I'll admit that a lot of times when I watch AEW back, I have the volume kind of low. I'm doing my music thing here, and, I'm listening in and out. So I miss a lot of it. But as much as I love Jericho, and then the Ross thing, obviously grew up with him, I love Jericho as well. But, I know Brett Moore was talking about Big E and loving Big E. And sometimes you get New Day, and you get the New Day on commentary. And I love New Day. But sometimes they roll a little too much. And if you watch this past Raw, they had, what's this guy's name? You Get the Smoke, whatever the tag team
Oh,
is.
the primetime players?
No.
Is that what they're called now?
Oh, wait, no, the
Are
Street
you fucking
Profits.
serious?
Street Profits, dude.
Oh, good lord! I'm like, if Vince changed Street Profits, I was about to be pissed.
No. So
Millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
Mr. All Day, or Mr. No Days Off. So, yeah, they had them in there, and I guess there was a time where they were just really rolling it, and they even had an article about how
They were awful.
Yes.
They were bad.
When I say rolling, I don't mean they're doing well. I meant they just kept going. And they had an article out there about how maybe Vince was in the ear of, the other guys at the booth, like, stop them.
Shut them up. Yeah.
They finally stopped. And something like that, I get on, like I said, I don't listen it. I don't have the volume really high, but sometimes a guy like Jericho does that or just keeps going in moments when I'm trying to enjoy the match. And, it takes away from a little bit. So I'm okay with them experimenting. I'm not a big fan of any of the angles so far. I'm not sure what they're going to finalize with. But, it's a breath of fresh air when you have an opportunity to do it. Why not?
Do you think so Jerry Lawler stopped them and was like, all right, guys, like, calm down. Do you think that was, like, legit? Or do you think that was part of just the, like –
I think it was legit. He just came off a little too sharp. I don't think he should have come off like, he's like, tell him here, cut him out, slow him down maybe. And
he's a shoot.
Yeah, you would have thought he would probably meant to come off a little less, abrupt. But I'm kind of surprised that they're not also in the ear of Vince in those moments. Like, if you're going to put them on commentary, give them the same, vocal so that they can understand early on instead of putting the pressure on King.
I don't know. I heard they almost gave Jerry Lawler a heart attack. So too soon?
Oh, shit. That was gold, Jerry. Gold. Oh, Brett, what do you think, man? What do you think of this announcing setup, huh?
Going into this, before these other two dudes spoke, I kind of took it as more of a, like, all hands on deck, you got to do what you got to do kind of things. But that does make sense. I mean, because Jim Ross is the best to ever do it, but I mean, he's not going to be around much longer. And then conversely, you got Chris Jericho, who, has more matches behind him than he does in front of him. What'd you say?
I said he's not going to be around much longer either.
Well, right. So, I mean, his wrestling career has, it's coming to an end sooner rather than later. I could see Jericho doing like a, Bobby Heenan kind of thing where he, transitions into being an announcer. He'd kill it. I mean, it's Chris Jericho. He's never done anything poorly. I mean, say what you want about Fozzie's music, but he's out there doing it and having a good time and everything. So,
even the camera crew sings it.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense. But then again, it really could be like a, desperate times call for desperate measures kind of thing.
If you were a little girl on American Idol and I had a golden buzzer, or is America's Got Talent, I would hit that right now, Brett. That was a strong take, my dude. I love that. The Bobby Heenan point was excellent. I think Jericho's been great. I just don't know what they're doing. I think Jericho's added really solid color commentary. And I don't think he's gone off the rails like the Street Profits, but yeah. But yeah, we'll see. By the way, we talked a few weeks ago about AEW entrance music and how it's like not as loud and stuff. I noticed when Goldust fought this past week, or Dusty Rhodes, I'm sorry, when he fought this past week, his music is Brain Stew by Green Day. It's like a different version. Has anyone else noticed that?
Oh, so he did like the DDP thing where he
Yeah,
took
exactly.
Like Spirit. And,
yeah, it's Brain Stew. So I was like, holy, what is that? And I thought about it. I was like, oh, it's Brain Stew. But
it's Dustin Rhodes. You gonna tell him no?
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Grandson of a plumber, baby.
So around the Wrestling Life community, so please vote on the polls that are taking place after Brett's Classic WrestleMania polls. We have some new polls up about the worst wrestler ever to walk the face of the earth. We are in the qualifying round, which means there are 8 groups. Top 4 from each group will move on to the tournament of 32. That will probably start in the next few days, so keep paying attention to those polls out there. Next up is go for it, Brett.
Who decided to put Ric Flair in there?
Who do you think?
Who do I have to dick tap?
Vince McMahon Mercandetti, that's who.
Dude, Ric Flair?
He put Ric Flair and Mankind up there.
Group? That motherfucker. Ric Flair and Mick Foley
is the worst.
Oh, Giant Gonzalez is whack.
Dude, I mean,
That's
the outfit.
Great Khali.
Great Khali's going to win the whole damn thing. He's
Great
awful.
Khali sucks.
Oh, he's bad.
I think Goldberg should win it.
All right, next up is our Brett. We've been waiting for this for a while now. We want to hear an impression of the late and great Howard Finkle.
Howard Finkle. Okay. And now, coming to the ring from Death Valley, The Undertaker. How's that?
Terrible.
Is that good?
I love impressions, and I thought
that was great.
Cool. From San Antonio, Texas, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
There you go.
You know.
Best Howard Finkle impression ever.
Thank you, buddy.
Go. Very nice.
Thank you.
King Brett Moore.
So rest in peace, Fink. You know, he was one of those guys where, you know, I listen to a ton of these wrestling podcasts, and everyone I've ever listened to, anyone that ever dealt with him, nobody ever had a bad thing to say about the guy. So, you know, I mean, if you take that into consideration, he was, you know, been called by lots of people the most loved man in the history of the wrestling business. And, you know, the day after, the day of, the Instagram posts and everything, you could really tell that was true. So, you know, plus he was a part of so many iconic moments. So, you know, rest in peace, Fink.
Yeah, for sure. I actually just watched the CM Punk brought him back the other day. He didn't bring back the other day, but, you know, the clip back then when he brought me for the pay-per-view, and I was like, man, it's just like, even that was so nostalgic feeling and nice. So definitely agree.
Oh, damn it. Chase Young went to the Redskins.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
You knew that was coming, dude.
I hate it when Buckeyes play for the Redskins, man. That sucks.
You a Skins fan?
I hate the Redskins.
Whoa.
I don't even call them the Reds. Sorry, the team from Washington. I don't like them.
Oh, Seahawks.
Sorry, I digress.
You know, we're just like Monday Night Raw and battling the ratings of the NFL draft here. Pod Jobbers cast going against the
NFL
draft,
dude.
Taking it on.
Bulk of our listeners are watching the draft right now, so they'll have to catch us on the.
I'm watching it.
Yeah, I have a notification pop up.
Podcasters here are watching the draft.
Oh man! All right. Well, our next segment, which is a personal favorite of mine, is where we're not too happy with quite a few people out there, and we want to make our declaration of how we're not so happy. So this segment, do you know what happens when people screw up? You just made the list, and we're gonna go with Brett Moore first.
Oh man, come back to me.
Oh, CL Kid.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to. Just made the list. There we go. Oh, we have a sound bite, right? So my list is, a little different, but still, I'm going to actually roll with, there's a line that CM Punk says in his popular shoot, breaks fourth wall, does all that. And everyone starts, kind of cheering for a moment after he says, I'm the best on the mic in this ring and even on commentary, nobody can touch me. He comes after with, you people cheering me, you're just as big as a problem because you buy all the cups and you feed in and all that. So my list is to people like Doozy who stopped watching Raw, who stopped watching SmackDown, who are the reason, the complainers who stopped giving the ratings because all of a sudden things aren't the way you want them to be. Like, I am actually finally, because like I said, that first Raw after Mania was trash. They didn't try it out. The whole deal with the tapings and them getting permission to go live and all that.
Straight trash, homie.
Fine, right? So beyond that, I thought they actually did a pretty good job these past 2 weeks. Not saying that there was anything entertaining, that I was hanging on every word or any of those moments. But they let Drew McIntyre look like a beast. They introduced a new tandem of 3 guys that are pretty much the same damn person. But you finally group them together and give them the right idea. He goes over them, which he should. Some people are annoyed by that. But I thought that was fine. I like the Bray Wyatt angle because to make Braun Strowman interesting in any form is tough to do, and he's done that. And I just think, the tag match, I like Big E winning it the way it does. It sets up for a Morrison singles run. It gives Miz back his single run. Hopefully he just stays true heel. And I think they did a lot this past 2 weeks. Or this past week with both shows, I should say. And a lot of people just go well out of their way to hate. And I think with an audience, the show they put on wouldn't have been a step down from anything they normally put on. So I'm going to give them some credit, and I'm going to really just hate and put the fans on the list this time because the expectations are too high. And eventually, you got to give them something because I hate, but you got to give them some kind of credit. You can't just dip out the back door because The Rock went off to Hollywood like Doozy did just because he didn't want to watch a boring Raw or SmackDown. Stay with the ship, buddy.
He went to Star 69 Hollywood, Channel 69 Hollywood. That's where Doozy went.
Okay, hang on. Before we go any further, allow me to defend myself real quick because I was just called out. And I'm gonna give you a chance to do this too, CO Kid, because I'm calling you out later. Number one, that Raw after I haven't done my list yet. I'm just defending myself against the crap that's being thrown in my face. All right. You tell me that best Raw of the year, right after WrestleMania, garbage. I saw jobber after jobber after jobber. Then Nia Jax comes back. Okay, maybe something good here. And I'm like, you know what? No, it's not. It's not going to be good. We're going to hear people talking, and there's going to be less impact in the ring. Speaking of, I would probably rather watch Impact than I would Raw or SmackDown this past couple weeks. I don't know about tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think there's something to do. Maybe I'll pick my nose or touch my anus or something. But what I'm saying, though, is yes, I need the live audience. I need to feel what they're feeling. Because right now I'm feeling what they're feeling, and it's just morose. It's piss poor. Which leads me into my next segment of Who Made the List. Tonight it happens to be our lucky person beneath me, and that's CO Kid. Because I've got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it. So it starts with you, CO Kid. First of all, you can't knock Edge the way that you did, all right? That man's a fucking pioneer, and you show respect to where it is, all right? You grew up in an age where ruthless aggression tore the airways with Spike TV, okay? You were watching Spike TV back when I didn't even know it was on Spike TV. I stayed true to USA, all right? Or CNN, whatever network you were watching it. I grew up on that shit. It's USA Network, all right? And so Edge is awesome, okay? You say what you want about John Cena, word life, this dude's trash, all right? I don't need to hear him spitting hot fire like some other people I know, like CO Kid. That guy's a pioneer in this industry, and people need to hear his music. But they don't need to hear you trashing on Edge, all right? And so I'm sorry, I like you. I borderline love you for what you are. But to hate on Edge like the way you did, you made my list, bro. And until we're back the next time, I'm looking at you with nothing but fury. I'm out.
Okay, so I get my defense.
You get your defense. Go ahead.
I get my defense moment, do I not? Or are we jumping forward?
Nope,
Okay.
you get it.
So, Brett Moore made the point earlier about CM Punk not being cuttable because of when he was hot, he was hot. That was it. There was no one above him at that moment. He really took reins, right? Not Roman Reigns. But, So, nonetheless, when he's hot, he's hot. These other guys, when they're hot, they were extremely hot. Edge, for me, was never the guy, ever, in that era. And I'm not knocking Edge. Again, I like Edge. Edge came back. I wasn't sitting there crying, but I'm going to sit there and enjoy the moment and love it. And I loved Edge back then. Those triple threat ladder matches are some of my favorite matches ever. I still point to them when I try to tell people, no, wrestling's cool. Look at this. But Edge, compared to what those guys have done career-wise, compared to the legacy those guys have, it's not as if he's doing, and I'm not saying this is the way I like to watch wrestling, but it's not as if he was doing Rey Mysterio things at a time when no one could do anything. And you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's doing flips and stuff at a time when no one could do anything like that. So Edge was never this above average wrestler that made you go, oh man, his wrestling skill, like a Daniel Bryan, his tactician or whatever it may be, that really grabs at you. And he doesn't have a hot point like those guys did. So I'm not knocking Edge. I just thought he was the obvious, clear next in line. He's next
He
tier.
nailed Lita in the middle of the WWE ring.
Okay. I'll give you that. But
How hot does it get?
I was more of a Trish Stratus person. But nonetheless.
Your defense is made. I stay humble. I take back a little bit of my hate, all right?
I love you, Doozy. I love King Doozy. I love that he's taken after the King Corbin name. I love that his headset works.
Brought it back. Okay, now I'm back. Now you brought me back. Okay,
Your mic
now
sounds
I'm
the
back.
best right now.
I have had King in my name since I was in high school because ladies always needed a king and I needed a queen.
I love his
Can confirm.
auto-tune headset. I love the fact that he has the auto-tune headset. I love it. He's got the Kane mask sound.
Oh,
Man, Charlie is daring to be sour. He
This
is
show
daring
needs
to be sour.
Edge, should I say. And it's about time that we got away from ESPN mode and we started really getting personal here, making this fun.
Somebody else talk besides Chucky.
So what I'll say to add on to CL Kid a little bit, I guess between Edge and Orton, were either of them ever the guy? Was Orton ever the guy?
I can say I see what you're
saying. Guy for like a decade.
Orton, my fault, Brett Moore, not to cut you off, but where my tiebreaker with those two go is Orton's finishers is amazing, it's fun, and then I just liked his in-ring status altogether. What do you think, Brett?
About this or my list things? I did think
Go to your list. Go to your
my list. No problem, dude. So I'm doing my list. Okay, yeah. My list would be the state of Florida declaring WWE an essential business. Blatant corruption. I don't want to bring politics into shit like this, but that's some out in the open corrupt ass bullshit, and it's not cool. I'll leave it at that.
If they
I had to explain that to like 100 people. They're like, oh, they're going to be back. They're going to have audiences. I was like, no. They're not going to have that. Well, they're an essential business now. I'm like, yes, it's all about the money and the corruption. It's nothing about.
It's good shit. Ruthless aggression.
You just made the list!
Florida.
Who's on yours?
Yeah.
I'm about to break a lot of hearts out there because this storyline really chaps my ass. I cannot stand the Otis and Mandy Rose garbage that is taking place on my television. It is worse than Bobby Lashley and Lana. It is worse than Maria and Mike Kanellis. It is garbage. Awful. I cannot stand Otis. He sucks. All he is a meatball that is running around the ring, rubbing his tummy, and he grunts half the time. I can't even tell what's going on. He's just grunting while he's wrestling. He's doing the worm? No, that's not a finisher. You're not Scotty 2 Hotty. That doesn't work anymore. Rikishi's not around. Choose your own big power man finisher and go that route. It doesn't make any sense. Thank God Dolph Ziggler is there to job because I would have no interest in this storyline if it wasn't. So Mandy Rose and Otis, I have one thing to say to you.
And you know what happens? You just made the list.
Slick. Jake, I would think from somebody who ended up with somebody who was way out of their league, I figured you like this kind of thing.
Yes.
It's
Man.
true. It's true.
I've been saving that, bud.
Hold on, I got another one for you.
It cut off. We can't hear it.
Oh, I can't hear it. It's Kurt Angle saying, "Oh, it's true.
Thank
It's
you,
damn
Brett.
true."
Because Otis and Mandy Rose is awesome TV.
It's entertaining.
Oh, I get the first. Okay, I get the WrestleMania thing. I understand that. But at this point, do you honestly care about it? Are you honestly looking forward to it, Deucey?
I look forward to Mandy Rose. I've talked about this how many times?
Okay, whatever, fine. But Otis and Mandy Rose, you look forward to that aspect of it?
I've been told this before in my life. You got to take the sweet with the sour. So if I have to have Otis to get Mandy Rose, fuck it.
But you can have Mandy Rose without Otis. She's still going to get airtime.
You could have her in a lesbiana storyline with what's her face. That
Sonya
could work.
Deville?
Dude, I
Sonya
would
Deville.
watch that shit over any match.
They should do it. What they should do. I thought it should have ended at Mania because, like I was saying before, it like led up almost like the Elizabeth, idea with Macho Man. But it should have been ended there. But if you take what you just said, Jake, and you build this storyline up, and the reason she's upset is because she's in love with her romantically, and then you build them up to be that storyline of lesbian kind of thing. Who knows what kind of heat you're going to build each week with that? Are you watching that, Villain?
Hell yeah, I am. That's the only reason why I cared about the Lana Lashley storyline, because what was her face came out and was like, "Oh yeah, I was in love with Lana," and I was like, "Ooh, this can take an interesting
For
turn."
one moment, they were killed. I was like,
and then it became pointless, and you're like, "What the hell was the point of that?"
Yeah.
Just to disrupt they don't
Is
know
it
what they're
PC to be talking about lesbianism?
What?
I didn't know if it was PC to be talking about lesbianism.
I don't know. Why not? It's a great thing. Good for them.
That's too easy. They already did that with Mickey James and Trish Stratus, a variation of it anyway. At least with this point, you create a baby face out of Otis because this is a chud looking dude who's getting the best looking girl, one of the best looking girls in the company. That creates a bona fide baby face. You can't top a baby face like that. And Dolph Ziggler's a great heel. Sonya Deville's turned out, she's been impressive as hell, throughout this whole angle. Her performance and everything, doing the catty girl thing, that was pretty cool. If you make Mandy and Sonya lesbians together, it's the obvious thing to do. It's so easy. It's so lazy. This way you're not doing what everyone's expecting you to do, and people will complain about, oh, WWE doing the obvious thing again. So I'm for it. I'm for it.
Yeah, and you really want Otis to be like, imagine if he had Rusev level, like, oh, he's a babyface and he's Rusev and he does power moves and he does all the right things. That makes it more boring. The fact that he is a loser, the fact that he is out of shape, that he does silly things, corny as hell, mind you, but those are the things that really help the storyline progress. If that was Rusev in place, this would be pointless.
Too soon.
Yeah. You're all wrong. Mark my words. This will last for about a month, and then no one will care about it anymore. There's no way to keep the creativity here. I agree. I agree. Going this route is probably more creative than the other route for sure, but there's not much more you can do. You can't have Otis and Mandy Rose be it for everything. And once that happens, then Otis, what do you have with him anymore? So, unfortunately, my sound bites are not playing all the time consistently, so I can't play this next sound bite. But I would like a little bit of a rendition from everyone for the next one. So in the
Are we starting this?
on this day,
I see clearly.
Everything has come to light. Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome.
All right, there's your
chance to feel Chance to feel alive. I almost hit Miles Kennedy in my car
That
one
was
time.
fun. That
Odd
was fun.
Jobbers Harmony, baby. On this day, about 17 years ago, WCW, Buff the Stuff Bagwell gets injured, pretty serious injury, in a tag match with the Steiner brothers. And during the match, ironically, he was basically trying to mouth to them that he was hurt bad. It was his spine leading up to his neck. They didn't hear him, so they kept going at it. Scott Steiner, I think, hit him with a chair or something like that. Finally, they get him out of the ring. They drag him out. Pretty bad. The reason why this is important is because about 6 months later, when Bagwell comes back to WCW, Scott Steiner basically is tagging still with Rick Steiner, and Buff Bagwell says, I'm done with the NWO, and renounces Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, and is gonna turn face, right? Wrong. What happens is Scott Steiner turns heel on his brother, which is one of the biggest heel turns in wrestling history. And sure enough, sitting ringside, who's in a wheelchair, Buff Bagwell, gets out of the wheelchair, tears the neck brace off, and starts beating Rick Steiner with it, and gets Scott Steiner to join the NWO. So a pretty classic day in this history. What do you guys think?
CO Kid, let's hear from you.
All right. Yeah, I guess I'm always first now, right? Honestly, no offense to the storyline and all that. It works amazing if you input somebody else in there. But for me, Bagwell, I don't really care, honestly. Bagwell's lame. He's boring. Steiner's lame. He can't even speak on the mic. He's the worst on the mic of all time. I mean, he's entertaining on the mic because he's boring as hell.
He has one of the best promos of all time.
Out of your mind, kid.
This guy is 144 and 2/3% friggin' losing his mind up in here.
Heel kid. Heel kid.
He's one of the funnest promos of all time because he's such a moron. They even had the thing where Jericho was told before he goes out,
Badasses.
not to mess up. Don't make fun of him. If he messes up, don't make fun of him because we already know he's gonna mess up. Like, he doesn't know what he's going to do. He goes out there, and Jericho calls him, oh, you're out there, he's like, with your King Arthur, second coming of King Arthur with your shawl. And he's like, well, I'll kick your King Arthur ass. And it's like, you're King Arthur. I enjoy it. Trust me, I love Steiner promo. I love looking at him. But, like, as a promo product, he's lame. Like, he's not good. And I enjoyed it, but he's not good. So for me, this exact storyline and all that works wonderfully with other wrestlers. However, with that, I'm just kind of like, meh, not really that interested. I honestly, when we talked about having this as the moment, I was, I'm sure someone else was as well, but I was definitely like, that's the moment for the day this year. Like, hold on a second. Like, there's an NFL draft today. That's the moment of this year. Like, forget this freaking Bagwell crap. But that's just me. It's more of not the storyline, not everything that happened. It's just Bagwell's name. Insert wrong character.
More.
So insert Gronk here.
I think it's Gronk. I said that's insert anyone else. No Gronk.
Oh, I thought you said insert Gronk here.
24/7 champion.
No. Gronk is the worst.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Hold on. We'll get to Brett. Because first of all, I love Buff the Stuff Bagwell. Been a fan. That guy's awesome. His finisher's cool. I like the way he does it. I just like him. I mean, he's been in Cinemax Softcore porn. He's funny. He's a funny guy. And the way it went down, had Steiner have actually listened and heard that, hey, this guy's fucked up. Okay, we got to get him out of here. We got to just end this match. Maybe something could have been spared of Buff's career. Because after that, he just wasn't the same. Yeah. And it led to the Steiner heel, which, his fucking muscles, dude, it just pisses me off. I don't really care for the guy, but he's funny on the mic. He's good. He's good stuff. He's just that guy that and plus he bleaches this stuff. I tried it. It doesn't work for me, okay? Trust me, I wanted it so bad. I wanted the white around here and then just the darkness right here. But unfortunately, not for me. Couldn't work. But yeah, he's good on the mic. And if it wasn't for that heel turn, him wearing, the chain mail and just coming out, I could Impact have been what it had been if it wasn't for him being as heel coming out of WCW like that? Now we will go on to Brett Moore.
Well, when you're doing the reason he did the dark stuff right here, that's not like dyeing stuff. What you got to do is you got to get like mascara or like some black makeup, and that's how he made that. Pro tip.
Fuck out of here.
But the only negative part of the whole thing was the fact that Scott Steiner became the 147th member of the NWO. That's the only negative part of the whole thing. It was a great storyline. I've always been a big Buff Bagwell fan as well. He's the Randall Grichuk of the wrestling world, and he just, he it doesn't ever seem like he takes himself too seriously. Like he's always laughing at the fact that we're laughing at him, because he's such like a unapologetic douchebag, and he's just that's his character. I appreciate the commitment to that. He's got that shit-eating grin that makes you want to punch him in the face and everything. And I get it. I've always been a Buff Bagwell fan as well. So I like it.
Scott Steiner, he always had that little muscle on top of a muscle when he would flex.
Yeah, like right here.
Yeah, it just sat.
It was
there.
like another.
Well, yeah, and then he had that like rock on his bicep that just like, I don't know if it was like a torn tendon or something, but it just like sat there, and it kind of was weird. I'm a huge sucker for wrestlers who address the crowd and have catchphrases like the New Age Outlaws, like Enzo Amore, like that. The Rock. I think it's really cool when they do stuff like that. So Scott Steiner, I'm shocked by you're a person who loves promo, Seal Kid. I'm stunned that you're not a fan.
I enjoy what it is.
I get what he's saying.
My bad, Brett. You go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm sorry. I was just saying I get what you're saying. He's
Seal Kid's been full of hate all night. I mean, he's been hating on left this, left right. I mean, fuck him.
I don't know. I look at it this way. His promos were, yes, they're entertaining because of how bad. It could be. And I love that. I'm glad that happened and somebody's doing that. It's almost like the R-Truth thing. If you watch an R-Truth now and you're like, who's this idiot R-Truth? I was like, but that's the point. And, minus the fact that wasn't the point with him, but it just panned out that way. It made it amazing. I enjoyed it. But, like, with my wrestler legacy, if I was a superstar in the WWE, you can speak like Steiner. But, no. I don't want to speak like Steiner. So he's not a good promo guy. He just happened to have good moments because of how bad his promos were. And they were entertaining as hell. As a wrestler, like you said, the finisher was nice. He looks the part, all those things. The storyline was great, as you referenced. But for me, I don't know. I was never into Bagwell in a big way. Kind of like you said, Brett Moore was a great point that he was never out there. Like, he stuck to his character. He was never too full of himself, never bigger than he needed to be. And that's a testament to him. So I respect that. However, for me, because of something like that, I never really bonded with him as a fan. So for me, it's not a big moment because of that, not because of his lack of skill or any of those things.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that brings us through to all of our segments. Brett, I think you had something else you wanted to mention tonight.
Oh, yeah. Hearts and thoughts and prayers and all the positive vibes and everything going out to Life Group OG, Henry Maldonado. Passing of your grandma. We're all thinking of you, buddy, and us. Anything we can do in your time and anything you need, let us all know. We're thinking about you. So sorry to hear about it. Condolences from all of us.
Good vibes and good spirits are going out to you, brother.
Our thoughts and prayers are with you, man. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for another riveting night of Pod Jobbers. We had some edge bashing, we had some Howard Finkle impressions, and we had some hate going on. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Back in my home, they feeling this. Out on the road, they feeling this. Up in the O, they feeling this.